Mr. Happy Living here, and I'm happy to be broadcasting from WYTV7 in the beautiful Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina. Folks, I love learning and development experts and TEDx speakers and networking enthusiasts and human learning evangelists and people from every walk of life that have discovered their reason for being on this planet. And that's why I love Toby Newman. He's all those things. And he engages with many learning communities where he's known as the never-ending learner on a mission to improve learning experiences for leaders and employees and influencers and people all around the globe. Hey, Toby, welcome to the Something Significant Show.
Thank you for having me. I don't think I've ever had a welcome like that. And that's the kind of thing I should just play back as I walk in the house every day. That should just be my welcome.
Boost of your confidence.
Yeah, no, obviously, it's great to be here, and I'll try my best to live up to some of those things.
Awesome. So just tell our audience what you're doing these days to leave your mark of significance on the world.
I mean, that's a big question to start off with. I suppose a very high level, it would be that I just want to leave the world a bit better than I found it. I know there's loads of people quote that. I think I've heard it in a few films and stuff. And I'm not like a billionaire or anything that can cure cancer or anything. But for me, that little bit is, again, around learning, is to make sure that people can find a better or improve or develop their career, or even just a little thing that they're doing, and just make their life a bit easier. And for me, then that's then help them. And for me, one of the biggest things is it's not just to do your job. A lot of people think training is, I don't know how to do something, I do it. For me, it's more than that. It's more of a mindset. I talk a lot about learning mindsets. And for me, that idea is that you need to improve people as a career, as a person, not just as an employee.
Yeah, right on. And that's, we started Happy Living, and our mission was to improve the health and well-being of the world, but one person at a time.
Yeah,
and really, if you really think about it, if you really just impact a single person, that's meaningful.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Because if you try and go for the whole world, or try and go for whole countries, you'll go crazy. You just can't do it.
And it changes the motivation from being a giver to being to your ego, from your heart to your ego.
Yeah.
And we've been trained. I know I was trained to do that, to conquer the world, but it doesn't work.
No.
And a lot of the conquerors aren't very happy, and they're not really helping so much. So I love your. Was
it ever any given Sunday? Was it we'll win this an inch at a time, I think it is, or a yard at a time?
That's it. Yeah. Love that. Okay, so take us back in time, way back to June 2006, when, as I was doing research on you, it looks like you made a significant transition from doing work to make money as an assistant manager at Blockbuster. Folks remember Blockbuster, to doing work to create a professional career as a learning development expert.
Yeah.
What was that transition like for you?
But it's actually funny. It's more the other way around. It's because I love my films. I kind of class myself as a borderline cinephile. I love watching films. So it wasn't more that I was just in a mundane job and now I've found my calling. I was in my dream job. I actually started working for a cinema, and I got unlimited passes to film. Then I got Blockbuster opportunities. I had unlimited, video. And I was like, this is awesome. I get to talk to people all day about video. But then, around kind of 2006, I always use the example that I was an assistant manager, and it just so happened my manager said, go train those people how to use the till. And I'm like, oh, okay, I can do that. I know how to use it. Or cash register, sorry, for the American audience. And I saw them, not necessarily their faces light up because it's just a cash register, but the fact that they could use it after that. It was that little bit of going, that bit I showed them, they didn't know how to do that before, and now they can do it and serve customers. I'm like, there's this I like. and obviously Blockbuster going kind of, wasn't exactly going well at the time with all Netflix and all that kind of stuff. And I thought, well, it would kill me to leave that kind of, film industry and stuff. But this is something that I feel I'm really good at. And so for me, it was that kind of calling to think, this is not just something I would do just because I love doing it. I can still watch films, but this is something I can do because I feel that I'm good at it and I can properly give back.
And it applies to everything. You're not locked into an industry. If Blockbuster goes away, that skill set is still valuable.
Exactly.
You can teach people at Netflix how to operate better. Okay, so let's look forward 10 years or so on your never-ending journey of learning. And how do you hope or expect machine learning and artificial intelligence and virtual reality and augmented reality and other yet to be developed innovations, how do you think they will impact learning and development of the global workforce in 2030 and beyond?
The impact cannot be overstated. That's for me is the easy way of talking about it. I think I'd probably liken it to when Apple released their smartphones back in, was it 2000 or whenever it was. It's a seismic shift. I was actually talking to one of my peers in a previous call, and we talked about the fact that data is becoming the basically the key for everything. I read a book called Homostaeus by Harry, I think his surname is. Amazing book. And at the end of it, he talks about the new religion is to be a dataist, that you basically, you kind of bow down to data. And obviously that's an extreme, but he's right in a way that we need to incorporate and we need to embrace this area because it's not going away. Machine learning, moves into, and then AI is making everybody's lives better. For me in learning, that technology, and with AR and VR, I'm a massive fan of VR. I've got my own Quest 2 and all that kind of stuff. I think it's such an amazing technology of where it's been in the last couple of years even. So, I mean, you mentioned 2030. It's not even going to be that. It's going to be 2025 by the time these things really kick off. Because exactly, I talk about people may have heard of Moore's law, which is the exponential growth of transistors, and I use it when I do my talks about keeping ahead of the curve, because the technology is going so quickly that you need to it's almost impossible to keep ahead of the curve, but at least keep up with technology and keep moving and keep developing. Again, going back to a learning mindset, it's self-development that you need to push. But AI and machine learning and VR are all aspects of bringing learning to you. For me, there's kind of two aspects. There's just-in-time training, which is when you leave your job, not leave, but as in you'll go away from your day job, you go take some learning and you come back. Just in the flow of work, that's where we need to be. And that's what things like VR, AI can do, is it can bring the learning experience into your own work. This is, for me, is my kind of happy place when I talk about learning. So I could talk about for hours.
So, but let's shift gears and talk about capacity. So, as you know, I define significance as doing things you love in places you love with people you love and creating something of value to others. It's doing and it's giving, but you can't give from an empty cup. So what are your practices, your personal practices, physical, mental, spiritual, financial, emotional? What things do you do to increase your capacity so you can take good care of yourself and your family and still have plenty left over to give to others?
So that is a difficult one for me. I'm going to be honest that I struggle with it. I've got, obviously with all the lockdowns, I'm a big extrovert. So the lockdowns hit me harder than, say my wife, who's a big introvert. We've got now a 3-year-old, but she was 2 going into lockdowns, and that is a lot of energy anyway. But then in lockdown, it was a struggle. so I think for me, it was much more of a mental shift, or a mental work rather than anything else, is to think, what am I going to be focusing on? What do I need to give my energy to, and be more conscious about what I'm going to be giving energy to, so that it leaves me energy for other things. So for example, one of the things, and I was talking to my wife about this a couple of weeks ago, was that this lockdown has actually helped us come together as a family, and adjust to, having a child. And what I've found is that I'm focusing, when I'm like in the moment, or whatever you want to call it, with Penny, my little one, and I'll play with her, and I'll like kind of focus on her. And then when she goes to sleep, then I can do other things, like I'm writing a book at the moment, improving my website, all those kind of things. So it's compartmentalizing. I don't think that's a word, but I think you know what I mean. That kind of putting things in its own bucket, and going, right, that's now
full attention when you're there.
Yeah,
and that full attention makes you more, gives you more power.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. And plus, now as a capacity builder, you can run that loop of my intro, and that'll give you capacity right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Toby, let's take a commercial break so I can tell everyone about 3 things. A brand new online course from Happy Living, and how it helps people discover their purpose and then design their life around it, and how they can save $100 on the enrollment fee.
Nice.
Mr. Happy Living here. I love good things made for good people. That's why I love Happy Living's online e-course. It's an 8-week-long deep dive into you and the inspired life you want to live. The life you were put here on this earth to live. The one that you and only you can live. 8 weeks of lectures and ideas and topics and supporting materials and powerful self-improvement tools. All designed for you. All designed to help you create the tools and the power and the confidence you need to discover your purpose, and to discover the life you were meant to live, and to feel incredibly inspired and motivated to decide you will live your life to its fullest. It's all designed to help you create the unique and distinct philosophy of you and your inspired life. Go to happyliving.com, select our e-course, and save $100 with promo code WYTV7. And for every enrollment, I'll donate another $100 to WYTV7. For $300 and about 30 hours, I promise you'll never, ever be the same again. And we're back, and this is the Something Significant show, and I'm Matt Gersper. Hey friends, to be happy, really, truly, deeply happy, you got to find a way to find your purpose. You got to find a way to live the life you were meant to live. So join me on a journey of self-discovery with our e-course, The Philosophy of You and Your Inspired Life. We're ready to begin 8 weeks of working on you and the life you were meant to live. And now back to my special guest, Toby Newman. He says if he can help one person develop and improve, then he can go home happy. But if he can help an entire company develop and improve and be ready for whatever comes next, then, can I say it this way? That makes him really, truly, deeply happy. So Toby, give us a quick overview of your beautiful website, theneverendinglearner.com.
So first of all, just to kind of let people know where the name came from, because it kind of sounds quite cheesy. But again, going back, I love my films. And if you've never watched The Never Ending Story, then you're missing out. It all, you laugh, cry beyond imagine. But I loved that film. And my wife actually sat down with me and said, right, So what is your personal brand? Because that's where it came from. I wanted to build my own personal brand, and I didn't want it to be me. I didn't want it to be kind of Toby Newman, because I felt it was not that I'm ashamed of who I am, but I just wanted to have that separate personality so that, it can be whatever it can be. And for me, the never-ending bit of the never-ending story really resonated, because for me, learning is about a never-ending journey, lifelong learning, whatever you want to call it. It just doesn't stop. And that's why I talk about career development for people rather than, employee development. And so I wanted to build a site, because I know personal branding is important. And I mean that as in, not if you want to be self-employed, happy living, all those kind of things. But even if you're employed by a employer, still having your personal brand is important. Mm-hmm. And I think you need to have your own personality within a company. So it started off just being a calling card, or a very posh calling card, my CV's on there and stuff. But then it's grown, or at least it's growing, and it's allowing me to grow further into putting all my content together. So I'm currently building a couple of courses, nowhere near as good as yours, Matt. But I'm planning on building a couple of mini courses on some of the stuff that I feel very passionate about, like learning mindset. And I'm writing a book. And so that's where my book is going to sit. And again, the book is called The Never Ending Experience, because the whole idea of that, how do you practically develop a lifelong learning mentality or a learning mindset? What are the practical steps? Because one of the things that really annoys me is when we talk very high level and don't give people practical sense to say, this is how you can actually do it. So that's, for me, is kind of my driving force.
I like that. I agree with that. I was telling someone the other day, basically everything that I do is from experience. There's no certifications, there's no fancy titles, and you learn and you live life, and that can be taught. So I like what you're doing there. Okay, Toby, my second book is all about personal transformation, turning inspiration into action, explores the idea that big transformations and discovery of purpose often come from devastation, sadly. Addictions, disease, shutdowns, death, disaster, some big crisis shakes your life. But I've used a happier way and discovered my purpose in life with inspiration. So was there a specific moment for you when either devastation or inspiration revealed to you the purpose you were meant to live?
So touch wood, I haven't had any massive devastation. I mean, yes, the lockdowns are bad, but there are a lot of people. I mean, I'm lucky enough that I've still got my job. I've got my house, I've got my family, got all that kind of stuff. So at least not yet. I mean, obviously, it's life. So there will be devastation along the route some way. And I think so in terms of inspiration, I don't feel that there's anything that I said that, that one thing inspired me and now I'm going to be, I saved someone's life and now I'm going to be a firefighter kind of thing.
You did have that moment in Blockbuster. That was...
Well, yes. So that was, yes, but so that's true. Yeah. So that was kind of an inspiration. Maybe I just didn't really think it's kind of inspiration. But for me, one of the things I try and do is take inspiration from a lot of different things. So books that I'm reading, TED Talks that I'm listening to, people that are coaching me, people that I respect, people where I want to be. I kind of take little bits from them. And for me, that's kind of one of my philosophies, is that in learning, you shouldn't try and take everything from something. Like if I use your courses, Matt, I can imagine you'd be the first to agree that it would be almost impossible for somebody to take everything from all your courses. But if they could take one or two key things and make that something actionable, then that's positive, and then they can build on that, and et cetera, et cetera. So for me, it's like it's building inspiration from everything that I take, everything, But the things that I kind of go, oh, that's good, oh, that's good, that's
Right.
good, and that's where I
The things
bring
that
it all together.
yeah. And I find as you're describing that, I do the same thing. And what I discover a lot in that is I haven't really necessarily learned something. I've learned a way to express something that I felt.
Yeah.
And now I can do something with it.
Yeah.
And it comes from all kinds of different sources, just like you said.
I mean, like, one of the things I talk to a lot of people in the company I work for is that, for example, if you want to know how to improve your presentation skills, you can take courses, doesn't matter. But if you watch somebody that you appreciate and that you respect, and you watch how they present, not what they're saying, but all the little things, how they're holding their hands, how they're moving their body, the way they use their pauses. Again, I'm not an expert in all this, but it's about taking that little bits and going, oh, I like the way he did that with his hands. I'm going to try and do that, and then practice and practice and practice. I like the way that he paused in that first, or I like the way he opened his story or her story. And it's taking those little bits of inspiration and then, but making them your own. You can't just copy. You have to make them your own.
And I would say you try them on, and some will feel good, and you keep those, and some won't. And you shouldn't try to keep forcing, to
exactly. I mean, how many times do you go shopping and you try on, you look at a shirt and go, oh, that looks good.
All right.
Oh my God, what was I thinking? Which is, that's one reason I don't like online shopping for clothes, because I need that kind of, I know, yes, you can return them and all that kind of stuff, but I need that experience of going, no, I don't like that. And all that works with this, and that trousers work with that top. And you need that kind of experimental thought about it.
Good stuff. Okay, so we've talked about capacity and purpose, and when you combine them, the sky's the limit. But the real magic of life comes from adding that fourth element of significance, doing work that creates value for others. So here's my happy formula. Capacity plus purpose plus giving equals happy to the third power. That's really, truly, deeply happy. It's not just the giving that's magical, but it's giving from living in your purpose. That's where the magic is. So tell us, how does it make you feel when a client says, and I quote, "I have no doubt in my mind that without Toby's training, I would have never reached the title of leader." And another says, "Toby's valuable experience and expertise provided great insights and helped us quickly adapt and optimize delivery model and brought best practices that helped us get 5-star ratings." Toby, tell us, how does it feel when you're giving to others from living in your purpose?
Well, I mean, I'm maybe I'm very stereotypically English, but I find it very hard when people kind of praise me like that. And I would say that I paid them, but but I didn't. But I think the only thing I can think of that is similar is the health service. So in England, we've got the NHS, obviously in different services around the world. Now, in no way am I associating learning and development with health service. They are the true heroes. What they do is mind-boggling. I could not do that. But to me, it's still a similar thing in terms of they do things to improve people's lives and to help people. And I kind of do the same thing. And it just feels good. I'm not a great wordsmith in terms of like waxing lyrical about how my emotions and all that stuff, but for me it's not just the fact that they are doing it, but it's the fact that they can go on and improve themselves. And for me, the biggest grin is when they share it, because for me, going back to that learning mindset, is that it's not just about being positive. It's not just about being understanding that you need to continuously develop, but it's to share with others. So a growth mindset is very much insular. A learning mindset is external. You need to bring your community in. And I think when I see, on LinkedIn, people have shared my thoughts or liked my thoughts and kind of that community grows, then you just get as we like to say in English, a nice tingly warm feeling inside.
That's it. Very good. All right, Toby, this has been fun. Let's wrap things up with the lightning round. So I'm going to read some of my favorite quotes, and then you respond, telling us what it means to you. Just give us the first thing that comes to your mind, and we can peer inside that brain of yours. This is from Billy Joel paraphrasing Socrates. The more I learn, the less I know.
Yeah, agree. And I'd like to say that I know absolutely nothing then.
I don't know how you say that. I stole this from you, Michael Ende.
Inde, yeah, I think so.
Ende. Every real story is a never-ending story.
Yes, because life doesn't. I mean, obviously, life carries on, and even in the worst circumstances, it still carries on, and it's about taking something from every experience and learning from it. I mean, there's many quotes about the whole. If you're not learning, then you're not living.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Love it. From Dr. Wayne Dyer, by unconditionally sharing and giving, you'll thrill at the experience of living.
Oh, that's a good one. I'm gonna have to nick some of these. Yeah, the thrill is definitely right. I think that, yes, you can develop yourself, but by developing yourself and developing others to go around it, it is a thrill. Yeah.
It's
all I can do is agree with these ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it gives me goosebumps. And I think this is the thing that I've been exploring a lot lately. It's if I give you advice and said, hey, you're over in the Netherlands, I love the Netherlands. And if I tell you a restaurant I went to and you go and you eat there and you love it, I'll be happy about that, but it's not thrilling. But if I give to you something that is from my purpose, that and that changes your life, that just lights you up.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've been exploring and learning with my guests, because they're all doing that. And when somebody experiences change from what you're doing for them, it's really personal and it really feels great, or it's a thrill. As
it's like, you came on came on our company Spark session, which is a session that I created to help people find curiosity in topics that they may not have thought of before, and ideas they might not have thought of before. So it's kind of very different to maybe your typical training or learning within a company. And almost every session I get, including yours, I'd get an email back, somebody saying either they just really loved it, or they've reached out to the website and they've now started this process. And whether they have or not doesn't matter. But the fact they took time out of their day to not just come along to the talk, but then to send an email to say, thank you very much. And now I've got this and I'm doing this and I'm really, it's changed the way I thought. Then I was like, that's you can't get better than that. I mean, awesome. It doesn't, I mean, again, I'm not a salesperson, but I can imagine it's the same thrill of closing a multi-million-pound deal. It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah. When you find your purpose, that's what happens.
Yeah.
And when you're not in your purpose, you can do a lot of good stuff, but it's not thrilling.
Because I can imagine in that same circumstance, if I got that email and I was just running a training and I was like, yeah, this is training, I don't really care. And I got that email, I'll go, okay, thanks, bye.
That's good.
And either just delete them or go, yeah, whatever. But yeah, right. You got to let it sink in.
This one's from Goff, last one. Whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now.
Yeah, and I would add to that is think about imposter syndrome with that, because that's the first thing that comes to mind. I suffer a lot from imposter syndrome, and it's that little devil on your shoulder saying you can't do it, and you're not valid, and the things you say and the things you want to do, there are other people that are better at it, there are other people that are more experienced, what do you know, shut up, sit down, all that kind of stuff. And so he's right in saying that you've got to just get up and do it. But to me, it's not necessarily that easy. Is that you've got to understand yourself, be very self-aware, know that you've got value. I mean, we've all got value, but know that what you're trying to say has got value, and then go do it. And then just don't listen. I mean, I find it as hard as anybody else, but try not to listen to your devil on your shoulder. Yeah. Get out of your own
head and get into your heart.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, this is great. Now, folks, it's your turn. If you can hear my voice and you were inspired by today's show with Toby Newman, please show a little love to our broadcast host and donate what you can to WYTV7. They're a 501c3 charity on a mission to educate, empower, and encourage. They do good works with your kindness. Toby, I love the niche you've skillfully carved out as a self-described preacher for learning, a learning and development advocate and expert helping people all across the globe learn to be better, learn better to be better, and learn more to become more. And I love that as your environment may change from classroom to online, and your tools may change from paper to cloud to machine learning to AI, your love of learning and your commitment to be a never-ending learner remains steadfast and fierce. So thank you, my friend, for doing your important part to make the world a better place. And thank you for sharing your powerful voice on our show.
Well, thank you. All I can say is thank you. And yeah, I find it's something that I love to do. And if people find even an inkling of benefit from our discussion, then our job is done.
Great. Let me give you a couple of minutes to share any parting remarks or comments you'd like to leave with our audience.
So for me, there's some of the key aspects of all the things that I'm doing is about thinking about your learning mindset and how to drive it. So if I was to put it in a very simple terms, is study self-awareness, work out what drives you, what powers you, what you like, what you don't like, how you learn. So if you prefer videos to podcasts, it doesn't matter. Once you understand that and you know what kind of what lights you, then you can then start to find stuff, and don't wait for training to come to you. Go to the training, go find it out. There's plenty of stuff online, from courses to free courses, free events, loads of stuff. Don't wait for it, go get it.
Great advice. Okay, thank you, Toby. And I also want to thank WYTV7 for hosting and promoting our show so we can keep interviewing inspiring guests like Toby and reaching out to folks out there ready to create their own extraordinary lives. A special thank you to our sponsors, the Philosophy of You and Your Inspired Life and Happy Living. Remember, I'll donate $100 for each and every enrollment for the entire month to WYTV7. So tell all your friends too. Go to happyliving.com, select our e-course, and enroll together as a group. And most especially, thank you, viewers and listeners. You'll find links to websites and social media and all things Toby Newman. Find him, friend him, check out his YouTube channel called The Never Ending Learner to see how his concept of a learning culture can support you in your business. And from me to you, dear friends, I love you and I want you to be happy. We do the Something Significant show to inspire you to live your life to its fullest, to believe as I do that a better self is always possible today and every day for the rest of our lives. I hope you're feeling motivated and super confident that you deserve to live the amazing life that you are put on this planet to live. The one of a kind, only you can do it, unique and distinct life of your dreams. And I hope you're feeling bold too, and ready to take action, ready to start moving along your path, the special one, the one made just for you, because that's where you're going to make your mark of significance on the world. Till next time, I'm Matt Gersper. You are awesome. And this is the Something Significant show. And we're out.